Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I thought for my next video back, if you haven't watched my last video, please go and watch it. It kind of explains where I've been and a little bit about the reading slump that I've kind of been in and where I've been at with my reading. I thought what would be good to come back with, as mentioned in that video, would be a what books are on the top of my TBR. I don't think monthly TBRs are going to work for me at the moment. Monthly wrap-ups may well do because that's just me telling you what I have actually achieved, but I don't think monthly TBRs are going to be the way forward. So I've pulled together two stacks of books. One stack is the books that are kind of like top of my TBR, books that I'm really excited to read and books that I can't wait to get to. And then the other stack is books that are actually sat on my currently reading on Goodreads. And for whatever reason, I've put them down and kind of stalled reading them for many different reasons. So I thought I'd start there first. What have I got on my currently reading? Why it's there, why it's not finished. I hate having my currently reading as big as it is. Not a Daisy May though, because she's got about 50 on her currently reading. That's a slight exaggeration. It's probably closer to 20. I thought I'd talk you through those first, what I'm currently reading, what I'm currently in the middle of, and then move on to the books that are kind of like top of my TBR. So one of the first books that I currently have on the go is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas. This is the final book in the Throne of Glass series, and for any Throne of Glass fans, you'll probably be yelling at me right now going, why haven't you finished it? I don't know. I haven't been massively gripped by this series. This book, I just think because I've picked it up and put it down several times because it's so big, it's like 800 and something pages. Oh no, sorry, over 950 pages. I think because of that, I've been listening to it on audio and my listening's been quite sporadic and I haven't given it its full attention that it really probably needs. And I think because of that, and because of other projects that I've had on the go, other books that I've needed to read for book clubs and various other things, I haven't prioritised this. I do think I am slightly further through than what my bookmark says. I do think I've listened to more of it since I last moved the bookmark in the physical book. But I feel like I need to get this read. We finally have a date for Crescent City Book 3, which is going to be, is it House of Flame and Shadow? I feel like that is what it's going to be called. So I kind of feel like I just need to get this done so that I can maybe get a reread in of ACOTAR, which I know is not the book that we've got coming out, but I'd really like to reread ACOTAR before the next Crescent City book comes out. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, if I will make that happen or not, but I feel like I need to get this done and then I can say I've read Throne of Glass. I think because I'm not enjoying it as much as ACOTAR and Throne of Glass as much as ACOTAR and Crescent City, I think that's also why I may be dragging my heels a little bit with it, but I'm going to persevere. I've got it on audio so I can kind of listen to it as well, and that does definitely help. The next book that I also have on the go on audio, I've got this borrowed through the library, is The Moon Sister by Lucinda Riley. This is the fifth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is the fifth book in the Seven Sisters series. This is about Tiggy, and she is spending a lot of time in Scotland. I think she's in Scotland when this first starts. Again, I definitely think that I'm further through this. I don't know if I've even ever put a bookmark in it. I think I've just purely been listening to it on audio. I think I'm about halfway through this. I listened to a massive chunk recently when I did a long car journey. I can't remember. I think I went down to my mother-in-law's a couple of weekends ago and I listened to it, which was probably about 2 hours I got listened to. She's about an hour away from me. So I have made some progress through this. And like I say, we're also spending time in kind of like a gypsy area of Sacramento, which I think is in Spain. Yes, from Spain to South America and New York. Yeah, so these are really interesting, but they are very formulaic, and even though they've got very different stories, each sister has a very different story. The kind of story structure is very, very similar, even though the subject matter is different. So this has just been something nice to have on the go in the background when I need an audiobook to listen to, and I can kind of pick it up and drop it as I need to. It's not quite as difficult to listen to as Kingdom of Ash because it's just a little bit more easy listening. So yes, I want to make more progress through this. I need to renew my loan though of the audiobook through the library because that keeps expiring and I haven't finished it. The other one that I've got on my currently reading is Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. I even went and bought this in Waterstones because I was so excited to read it. I got 130 pages in, and I'll be honest with you, I think what happened was I had other reading commitments, book club reading commitments, that meant I kind of had to shelve this for a little bit, and I haven't come back to it. So many people have loved this book and raved about this book, and I feel a little bit of a fraud for not having picked it up and read it sooner and finished it sooner. But I think because the pages are so thin, I was surprised at how big this book actually is. When you look at it, when you think this is like a 660 page book, and this is a 900 page book. I mean, it doesn't look big, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it doesn't look as big as it is page wise. I just think the pages are really thin. This is about a lady who is the first lady to fly around circumnavigate the earth, I think. It's kind of been likened to a little bit of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because it's someone going to be portraying the character in a film, and you kind of get both sort of timelines. You get like the actual character, and then you get I haven't read enough of it to kind of have an idea on it, to be fair, and I may even have to start this from scratch. But I enjoyed what I read. I just had to put it down for other things and haven't got very far with it. Haven't come back to it, which I need to. The next one, which I've literally just picked up this morning and read 14 pages, so that's sat on my currently reading as well. I feel like I'm missing something from my currently reading. I'm just going to quickly check on my Goodreads what the other thing is I'm missing off my currently reading. Ah, okay, I know. I'm not going to read that. Probably not going to read that, so that's fine. I started this morning. This is for a book club, and I'm hardly through it. So this will obviously get read and finished, I imagine, quite quickly. So those are the books that I've got on my currently reading. The books that I have next to talk about, like I say, are books that are high up there on my TBR. They're ones that I have on my TBR cart rather than on my TBR shelves. And they're kind of like my most anticipated books to read. And I think by doing this video and talking about these books, I'm going to get really excited, and it's going to give me motivation to read them, which was kind of the idea behind this video. So the first is my next two Colleen Hoover books that I've got. I've got All Your Perfects, which I think was very kindly gifted to me by Secret Santa. We did a Secret Santa gift giving for Christmas, and we did another one for Valentine's Day, which was really, really fun, super fun. So very kindly got gifted this. I seem to devour every Colleen Hoover, and they seem to be easy books for me to read, even though sometimes the subject matter can be a little bit difficult and a little bit more real, I suppose, rather than being too light and fluffy. They kind of deal with real life problems, but in a way that I just lap them up. I think this one's going to be a really quick one to read, and I like going into a Colleen Hoover not knowing too much and kind of just letting it unfold, which I think works well for me. So I've got All Your Perfects, and then I've also got Layla. I've got a feeling that Layla is more along the lines of Verity. I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel like this is a darker one. It also really bugs me that in England you can't get like all these matching editions. You know, like, anyway, whatevs. So yeah, I'm not gonna. I think this is about somebody that has memory loss. I think I've read the synopsis for this before. A boyfriend and girlfriend, they go away. The girlfriend has been involved in an incident that involves her having lost her memory, and they're kind of going somewhere that they've shared good key memories with before to try and get her to remember some of their past. But I think then the boyfriend meets another woman or something. I'm not quite sure, but I'm intrigued and I'm really excited to read this, and I love Colleen Hoover's work, so I'm excited to read those two. The next one I actually think I pre-ordered this in the end, or I ordered it very quickly after it was released. This is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This was originally self-published with a really cool cover, which I think is on the end page as it is. And it went it just went viral, and a traditional publishing house picked it up, Tor Publishing. I think this is she's done Slaying Monsters, she's ready to serve coffee. After decades of adventuring, Viv the Orc Barbarian is finally hanging up her sword for good. Now she sets her sights on a new dream, for she plans to open the first coffee shop in the city of Toon. I think that's how you say it, even though no one there knows what coffee actually is. And it's all about, I've heard that this is a really, really good found family story. And I've heard lots of people say it's literally just such a lovely, warm read. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and lots of people that I follow on YouTube and Bookstagram that have very, very different tastes have all enjoyed this. So I'm thinking this is going to be one up there for me as well that I'm going to really enjoy. The next book, I'm actually ashamed that I haven't read it yet, and that's Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think I'm doing the same thing that lots of people have done, which is putting it off because it's about tennis, and I don't know a lot about tennis, and I don't have much of an interest in tennis. I remember when my other half was living in Sutton. This is like going off on a tangent here, and I remember when, I think it was Andy Murray won Wimbledon or something like that, and we had the windows open in the flat that he was living in at the time, and we could tell he'd won, but we weren't watching it. I think that pretty much goes to show, I think everyone in England was watching this Wimbledon final, whatever it was that was going on, and I'm sure it was Andy Murray, and we weren't watching it. We were watching like motor racing, like bikes or something else instead, like, and it just sums me up. Like, I'm not into tennis at all, but I've recently been watching, obviously, as I'm sure everyone else has been, I've been watching Daisy Jones and the Six on Amazon Prime. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. It's a little bit hazy for me. Lots of people have said that there's things that have been changed and missed out. I can't remember it all. It was a long time ago that I read it, but I've been really enjoying the TV show for what it is, and I've been enjoying the music as well. But also, if you follow Destiny Sidwell, Sarah Caroli, and Hayley Pham here on BookTube, they recently got together, all three of them. They gave each other 5-star reads to books that they rated 5 stars to read with each other, and one of them read Carrie Soto is Back and actually really enjoyed it, and had put it off for the same reasons as me, that she's got no interest in tennis. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna read this and absolutely love it. But like I say, with everything else going on at the moment with Taylor Jenkins Reid, has put it back to the forefront of me, of my TBR, and I'm like, I need to read this, and I am ashamed I haven't read it sooner. And this next book is also a book that I'm ashamed I haven't read sooner, and that is The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. This is the third book in the Thursday Murder Club series, which I have enjoyed both books that I've read already from this series. The Thursday Murder Club and The Man Who Died Twice, both were amazing books, and I actually listened to both of them on audio, I think. I do have a spare Audible credit, so I may well actually pick this up on audio and listen to this once I've done with some of the other audiobooks that I need to get done with first. Priority, Sophie. But I just love this series, and I can just see me starting this and absolutely devouring it and reading it really quickly, even though it's not a small book. But I do think like the writing's quite big in this, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a biggie, because he has announced the name of his next book, and obviously there is another book coming, and I want to read this before then, so I don't have like a need to catch up or feel any pressure. So yeah, and like I say, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that I haven't read this yet, especially because I pre-ordered it. So I need to get better at reading the books that I pre-order. The next book is another book that I was like so excited that I found, Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. I found this in Essex when I went up to visit Daisy, and that was ages ago now, and I was so excited that I saw it, that it was £3. Loads of people have been raving about this book, and I feel like I've heard nothing about it since, and I haven't read it, and I feel again ashamed of myself. But I love this because it looks like it's got quite a lot of mixed media in it. It looks like we've got text messages, like emails, and you know, some mixed media through it. So I think this is going to be a really, really fun read anyway. But I've heard really good things about this as well, and it was £3 from the works, so I need to pull my finger out and read this. And another book that I bought whilst I was with Daisy is Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the first book in the Aurora cycle, and this is, I think, starts on graduation day when I don't know what his name is, star pupil Tyler Jones is graduating, and basically he has an incident on his way to his graduation ceremony, which means that because he was star pupil, he should have had the pick of the crew, and he kind of ends up with this ragtag crew of people that maybe wouldn't be people that he would have originally chosen for his crew, and it's all about uncovering somebody. Aurora, is her name Aurora? But yeah, the girl they had rescued from an interdimensional space. I don't know. I loved the Illuminae Files, and I think I'm going to love this. And I feel like I need some sci-fi because I haven't picked up sci-fi in a little while. And I did actually treat myself to the second book in this series before reading the first book, Naughty Naughty Naughty, when I was pre-ordering something else on Waterstones. I think it was the sequel to Twin Crowns, which should probably also be in this pile, but I haven't picked it up. Because the sequels, the editions of Twin Crowns and that series, I can't remember what the second book is called for the life of me. Waterstones do amazing editions of those, and I think I added a couple of books on to bump up my order value so I didn't have to pay for shipping. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I just took the plunge and ordered the second one of this series because I just thought it's a no-brainer. I reckon I'm gonna love it. So I do have the second book ready and waiting to go when I'm done with that. Has anybody else been watching Firefly Lane on Netflix? Because I have, and it's not often the way round that I go about watching things when I know there's a book and it's a book adaptation. But I was, like I say, I've been struggling, if you watched my previous video, I've been struggling with actually being able to switch off enough to read, or having enough brain capacity to actually read. It's one thing kind of sitting down and needing 5, but then actually being able to get into a book fully, I just haven't had the brain capacity to do all the time. So Firefly Lane was a series that I started watching, and then once I'd started it and got into it, it was then kind of like, okay, well, I'm into this now. So when I did have some time to sit down, which would normally be reading time, funnily enough, I wasn't choosing to read, I was choosing to watch this. I very kindly got gifted this for a birthday. I'm sorry, I don't know how long ago this was. 2021. So that was a couple of years ago now, so I feel bad. But this was very kindly gifted to me by Jessica. And I don't know why I haven't picked this up, because I've read books from Kristen Hanna before and really, really enjoyed them. But I'll be really interested to read this, and it would be really good to read this before the next part of the TV series comes out, because I think that's got a release date in April for the second part of the second series. So I don't know quite how far this goes and how true to the TV show it is, but I'm really intrigued to pick up the book, and I hope that I love it as much as I've enjoyed the TV show. And then the final book, again, is a book that has been on my TBR for way too long, and it's The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I think I picked this up soon after the Netflix show, hence why I have, was it on Netflix? Hence why it has like a printed sticker for the movie. And then also Becca and the Books read it, fell in love with it. It was like her favourite book of the year or something like that, which is very different for Becca and the Books if you follow her here on YouTube. I loved the film, and there was lots of hate for the film because it wasn't very true, or there was differences between the book. So I'm hoping that I'm going to love the book. And at the moment, I'm thinking that balance is really key with what I'm reading. I feel like when I'm reading some books on heavier topics, or if I'm having a bit of a tougher time in real life and I feel like my books need to be escapism, that's what they always are. But that sometimes my brain is too fried to deal with anything that's too taxing. So something like this, Dating Dr. Dill, and maybe nothing else off these, maybe the Colleen Hoover are easier books for me to read, and they're kind of a little bit more soothing for my brain. They're ones that I can kind of read a bit easier. And I love a contemporary romance. I love an enemies to lovers. And I'm really looking forward to reading this. Really, really looking forward to reading this. So yeah, I feel like I've got a good mix here of genre, of size of book as well, and of some kind of new to me authors and some kind of guaranteed authors that I know that I love regardless of what I read by them. So I'm really looking forward to get to these. I'm looking forward to getting through my currently reading shelf on Goodreads, getting through some of those bigger books that have been sat on that currently reading for far too long. The other book that is on there is probably a book that I'm going to DNF, to be fair, which is the book, this book will Save Your Life by A.M. Holmes. I'm currently 94 pages through. It's a book for a book club and I'm just not enjoying it. I spoke about this in my previous video. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, I'm just not getting it, and I just don't want to waste my time on reading books that I'm just not completely... I've got 100 pages in and I'm like, and I think if I've got 100 pages in and I'm feeling like that, I shouldn't bother picking it back up again. So I think I'm just going to put that on my DNF shelf, take that off my currently reading. And if I come back to it at a later date in a year or two's time, it might hit different. But reading's very much a here and now thing. And if I'm not in the mood for it now, why waste my time on it when I could be reading other stuff that I'm really excited to read? So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment in the comment section of some of the books that you have on the top of your TBR. I'd love to hear about what you've got kind of next lined up for you to read. Have you read any of these books recently, or have you got any of these books on your TBR? If you want to do a buddy read or anything like that, please reach out to me, because if you've got any of these books on your TBR, I'd love reading them with some of you guys. That would be really, really, really fun. Another way of getting your reading mojo back, I think, is sharing a reading experience of a particular book with somebody too. So, like I said, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hopefully see you all in the next one.